Dear students, welcome you for the second lecture on the module 5 heat exchangers. I am Vijay VS, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, SJEC. So we will go through what are the topic we covered. So in this lecture I will be covering the derivation of LMTD for parallel and counterflow heat exchanger. Okay, so only derivation we will be doing today. So therefore the outcome of this lecture is, at the end of this class, students will be able to, or you will be able to, define what is log mean temperature difference and derive the expression for LMTD for parallel and counterflow heat exchangers. Okay. Yes. Now just we will review what we have done in the previous lecture. We have studied about the different classification of heat exchangers. Then we derived the overall heat transfer coefficient expression, and we defined what is a fouling factor and fouling resistance and how it affects in finding out overall heat transfer coefficient. So that is what we have seen. Okay, just recall all the classification. So according to the type of energy exchange, we have direct contact, indirect contact. In indirect contact we have recuperative type and regenerative type. Okay, I think there may be some confusion in this recuperative and regenerative. Remember, most of the heat exchangers what we use, they are recuperative type. It may be car radiator, condenser, evaporator, anything, even the boiler, they are called recuperative type because the hot and cold fluid both are flowing simultaneously and they are separated by a wall. Okay, separated by a wall. But in regenerative type, the flow is periodical. Once the hot fluid flows and there is one heat absorbing medium called solid matrix. Okay, that is a very important one. That's why it's called regeneration. The solid medium will absorb heat from the hot fluid, and next time when the cold fluid flows over the solid medium, it transfers the heat to the cold fluid. Okay, so regenerative type are less common. Okay, examples you can give: IC engine cylinders, gas turbine. Engine cylinder acts like a solid matrix, gas turbine blades act like a solid matrix, and also it is used in some blast furnaces. Okay, there is a rotating mesh type of arrangement. So that is one thing you have to remember. According to the construction, we have seen double pipe, shell and tube type, compact type. Most of the industries use shell and tube type, and some of the industries like cryogenics and in nuclear power plant, even the compact type is used. Okay, according to the direction, we have parallel, counter, cross, and finally according to the state of fluid, we have condenser and evaporator. Okay, so these are the things we studied. So now let us go to the important part today, the derivation of LMTD. Before that, you should know how the heat transfer rate is calculated in heat exchanger. Okay, so the heat transfer rate through any heat exchanger is given by this expression: Q is equal to U into A into delta Tm. U is called overall heat transfer coefficient, A is the total surface area of the heat exchanger, and delta Tm is called mean temperature difference. That mean temperature difference between hot and cold fluid, that is also called as a log mean. It is not a simple mean, it is not arithmetic mean, it is log mean. Okay, why that log mean we have to take, we will see. Okay, now how the heat exchanger analysis is done, let us see. Right, the complete design of heat exchanger is a huge topic, and it involves three important analyses. First one is the thermal aspect, where we study about temperature, heat transfer rate and effectiveness. Second, we have hydrodynamic aspect, where the pressure drop in flow channel is discussed. And third one is the structural aspect, where mechanical and structural designs are discussed. Okay, so the entire heat exchanger design consists of three important parts: thermal design, hydrodynamic design and structural design. Now in this heat transfer subject, we will focus only on thermal aspect, that is to calculate temperature, heat transfer rate and effectiveness. Okay, so LMTD is one such method of heat exchanger analysis. Okay, so now let us go to the important part, that is derivation of heat exchanger. LMTD for parallel and counterflow heat exchanger. Okay, so before we start the derivation, what is very important is the assumptions made. Now the important assumptions made here is the overall heat transfer coefficient U is constant throughout the heat exchanger. The flow conditions are steady. Okay, we consider the steady flow of the medium, both hot and cold fluid, steady flow rate. Then specific heat and mass flow rates of both fluids are constant. There is no loss of heat to the surrounding due to the heat exchanger being perfectly insulated. Okay, it means all the heat lost from the hot fluid is equal to heat gained by the cold fluid. Okay, then there is no change of phase either of the fluid during the heat transfer. Then the changes in potential and kinetic energies are negligible. And seventh one, axial conduction along the tubes of heat exchanger is negligible. We consider only heat transfer along the radial direction. Axial direction, there is no heat conduction discussed and considered. Okay, so these are the assumptions. And very important, there is no change of phase either of the fluid. Means during the flow of a hot and cold fluid, there is no change of phase taking place. Okay, but in condenser and evaporator, that is there. The entire hot or cold medium is so condenser and evaporator are the exceptions. Okay, that we will study separately. Right. Okay, so now this is the. So let us start the derivation for a parallel flow heat exchanger. Okay, so this is the flow arrangement. If you see the inner pipe where the hot fluid is flowing, and in between the outer pipe, this is called annulus, in between this space cold fluid is flowing. What is very important is you have to see the direction. The direction of hot fluid and cold fluid, they are parallel to each other. Okay, now let us draw this temperature curve. Now along the x-axis we have area or length, anything can be considered. Here area is considered. One is called inlet of the heat exchanger, two is the outlet. And along y-axis we have temperature. Okay, so now let us consider hot fluid. When the hot fluid comes at the inlet and goes at the outlet, how the temperature varies. So let us take TH1 is the temperature at inlet of the hot fluid, and TH2 is the temperature at outlet of the hot fluid. So temperature of the hot fluid drops. Okay, cold fluid, let us take TC1 is the temperature at inlet, TC2 is the temperature at outlet. As the cold fluid comes out, heat is gained. So one is heat is lost, another heat is gained. Okay, now let us take theta 1 is the temperature difference at inlet, that is TH1 minus TC1, and theta 2 is the temperature difference at outlet. Okay, that is TH2 minus TC2. Now in order to do the derivation, let us consider a small portion of the heat exchanger. Okay, let us take dA is the area of the heat exchanger, small area of the heat exchanger. Let us take TH and TC are the temperature difference at inlet of the heat exchanger. So theta is the temperature difference in the small area, right? And what you have to observe, this theta is continuously changing. Theta 1 is at the inlet, theta 2 is at there is a continuous variation. Okay, so we have to find out the mean value of this. Now as the hot fluid comes out of the small area, let us take dTH is the temperature drop of the hot fluid, dTc is the temperature gain of the cold fluid. Okay, now let us assume that dQ is the heat lost from the hot fluid, which is equal to heat gained by the cold fluid. Okay, and this is for the small area of consideration. Here H and C refer to hot and cold fluid, 1 and 2 refers to inlet and outlet condition. Okay, yes. Now let us start the derivation. Okay, now we know for the small area the heat loss dQ is given by U into dA into temperature difference, that is TH minus TC, right? This is for that small area, dQ is equal to U dA TH minus TC. That is also given by U dA delta T. Now we know the value of dQ. Okay, so as a result of heat transfer dQ through the area, hot fluid is cooled by dTH. Okay, whereas this cold fluid is heated up by the temperature dTc. Now therefore I can write the energy the heat transfer equation like this: dq is equal to mh cph dth, that is heat lost by the hot fluid, that is equal to mc cpc dtc, heat gained by the cold fluid. Okay, this dq is also equal to uda from this value. Okay, but one important point is, just see the sign here: dth is taken negative, dtc is taken positive. That is because of the slope of the curve. Now dth is negative because its slope, if you see the graph, it is decreasing. So for a decreasing slope we have to take negative. dtc, its slope is positive, it is increasing, so we have to take positive. Okay, that's why this negative and positive is taken. This is the only difference between parallel and counterflow heat exchanger. Right, now let us write the value of dth and dtc in terms of dq. So from this expression I can write dth is minus dq by mh cph, and I can write mh into cph as ch, this is called capacity rate, and dtc I can write dq by mc cpc, mc cpc I can write cc. Right. Okay, so that is what written here: ch and cc, they are called heat capacity or water equivalent of hot fluid and cold fluid. Now mh and mc dot, they are the mass flow rate, cph and cpc are the respective specific heat. Now I can differentiate this: dth minus dtc I can write minus dq into 1 by ch plus 1 by cc. Therefore this, we already know th minus tc is dt, therefore I can write d theta is minus dq divided by 1 by ch plus 1 by cc. Now next line, we already know dq is u dA th minus tc, so substitute that value here, u dA th minus tc, I got this expression. Okay, so now once I know that d theta is u dA th minus tc replaced by theta. Okay, theta 1 by ch plus cc, and theta you take to LHS, so I get d theta by theta minus u dA 1 by ch plus 1 by cc. Now this I have to integrate. Now what is varying is this theta value is continuously varying from inlet to outlet, similarly area also. So if I integrate between inlet to outlet, that is from area 0 to area, at the inlet area is 0, at the outlet area is a. Okay, so what I get, this is ln theta, so ln theta 2 by theta 1 is equal to u into, u is a constant, integration of dA is a minus ua 1 by ch plus 1 by cc. Now we have to replace this ch and cc, that's all. Okay, so now if we consider the total heat transfer rate between two fluids, q is given by ch into th1 minus th2, and cc, that is, this is the heat gained, heat lost by the hot fluid, total heat loss, and heat gained by the cold fluid is cc into tc2 minus tc1. Now I should replace this ch and cc, therefore I can write 1 by ch is nothing but th1 minus th2 by q, 1 by cc nothing but tc2 minus tc1 by q. Substituting these two values, okay, so what I get, ln theta 2 by theta 1 minus ua 1 by ch, I replace this by th1 minus th2 by q, 1 by cc I replace this by tc2 minus tc1 by q. Okay, so therefore here now q is common, I will take outside ua by q, this th2 minus th1. Now here th2 minus tc2, it is nothing but temperature difference at outlet theta 2, th1 minus tc1 is temperature difference at inlet th1. Okay, theta 1, so therefore q can be written as u into a into theta 2 minus theta 1 by ln of theta 2 by theta 1. Okay, so this expression can be written as ua. Now this term is one single term, theta 2 minus theta 1 by ln of theta 2 by theta 1. This is called mean value of temperature difference, and this mean value, since there is a logarithmic term, it is a log mean value. Okay, so therefore theta m is theta 2 minus theta 1 by ln of theta 2 by theta 1. This can also be written, I can exchange 1 and 2, since theta 2 is smaller, this will become negative, therefore I will exchange this. So here also it will exchange, so theta 1 minus theta 2 ln of theta 1 by theta 2. This is called logarithmic mean temperature difference. So what you have to observe is the variation of temperature along the area is exponential. Okay, it's not linear. That's why we take logarithmic mean temperature difference. Now let us see how to do for a counter flow. The entire procedure is same. Okay, what changes is the flow direction. So in counter flow, hot fluid is flowing in this, cold fluid is flowing in opposite direction. Therefore the graph will change. Okay, only change is in the graph. So this is the area. The temperature of the hot fluid drops from TH1 to TH2. Cold fluid enters in opposite direction. So TC1 here and comes out here, TC2. So temperature increases, this temperature drops. Okay, now let us take a small area dA, and let us take theta is the temperature difference at inlet. So TH and TC are the temperature at inlet, theta is the temperature difference here. Let us take the temperature drop by hot fluid is dTh in this small area, temperature gained by cold fluid is dTc, and dQ is the heat lost in this small area. Okay, now what you have to observe is slope of both the line. So here if you see along this direction, the slope of the hot fluid, it is decreasing. Okay, and slope of the cold fluid is also decreasing. Okay, if we consider this direction. So therefore slope of both the lines are negative. That is what very important thing. And one more thing is temperature difference at inlet, theta 1. Here temperature difference at inlet is TH1 minus TC2. Here it is TH2 minus TC1. In parallel flow, this is TH1 minus TH2. Here TH2 minus TC2 it was. So here it is opposite because of the change in direction. So therefore now your derivation, this is same, dq is equal to u dA th minus tc, same. Here what happens is dq is equal to, this is negative sign because dth is negative, this is also negative. So both are negative here. That is the only difference what we have. Okay, both are negative. Then all the expressions are same. So dth and dtc I will write in terms of dq. Dth I write like this, d theta I write like this. Okay, dq is already u dA delta t or theta. So write this. So dq is equal to minus. Now what happens is the sign becomes a negative here. Parallel fluid is positive, here it is negative. So sign is negative. The rest all are same. D theta by theta, integrate, you will get ln theta 2 minus ua 1 by ch and 1 by cc. Replace 1 by ch and 1 by cc by this expression, that also we have studied. So therefore you get ln of theta 2 by theta 1. Here you will get negative sign. Okay, negative sign. And now you have to th1 minus th2 minus tc2 plus tc1. What we have to do is write this in terms of temperature difference at inlet. So that is th1 minus tc2 minus of th2 minus tc1. This is theta 1 minus theta 2. Okay, so rest all expression becomes same, ua theta 2 minus theta 1 by ln of theta 2 by theta 1. Therefore this is equal to, so the final expression is same for LMTD. So LMTD is given by this. Okay, so the final conclusion now what is LMTD is given by temperature difference at outlet minus inlet divided by ln of that. This can also be written at delta T1 minus T2 by this. Now here what is the value of delta T1? Delta T1 is equal to Th1 minus Tc1. If you see this and if you see this graph, you will observe. So delta T1 value will change, Th1 minus Tc1, and delta T2 is Th2 minus Tt2. Okay, and for counter flow if you see at inlet it is Th1 minus Tc2 and outlet Th2 minus Tc1. Okay, this is the only change in the difference. This is called LMTD. So the final formula is same. What changes is only delta T1 and delta T2. That is what the derivation is about. So thank you. With this we have come to the end of this lecture. Thank you for listening.